Hi, I am Dr. Selvaraj, your surgical educator from Malaysia. Welcome back to my series of surgical teaching videocasts. These are meant mainly for undergraduate medical students doing the surgical clerkship rotation. I promise you will become competent in clinical problem solving and surgical decision making if you are going to watch these videos over and over again. Today in this episode, I am going to discuss one more image based question in lower GI tract pathology. So our patient is a 75 years old male patient present with enormous abdominal distension with obstipation. He has Parkinson disease and is taking levodopa and benztropine. His abdomen is enormously distended, but there is no surgical scar. No significant tenderness on palpation, but abdomen is tympanic on percussion. His abdominal X-ray erect is shown here. So these are the two pictures. This is the X-ray and this is the intra-op picture, and these are the 5 questions. Question number 1, what are the findings in figure A and figure B and what is your diagnosis based upon these figures and the clinical scenario? Question number 2, what are the risk factors for the patient to develop this pathology? Question number 3, what are the symptoms and signs in this pathology? Question number 4, what clinical signs denote the underlying bowel is just gangrenous or perforated also? Question number 5, what is the management in this pathology? So I request my viewers to pause the video and try to answer all these 5 questions. After answering all the 5 questions, you can verify your answer with the correct answers which I am going to discuss in the subsequent slides. So question number 1, what are the findings in figure A and figure B and what is your diagnosis? So the correct answer is figure A is abdominal X-ray erect, this one, which is showing a classical coffee bean appearance, omega sign, bent inner tube sign or Freeman-Dahl sign. All are same. But you can see this picture. This is the classical coffee bean appearance where you will be seeing 3 linear lines. This is one loop of the sigmoid colon. This is another loop of the sigmoid colon. So here you are seeing one linear line. Here another linear line. Here another linear line. So all these 3 linear lines will converge in the left iliac fossa. This resembles like a coffee bean. This is a classical coffee bean appearance. Figure B is intraoperative picture of dilated sigmoid colon. After laparotomy, see the whole sigmoid colon is popping out, and this is what you are seeing here. So the diagnosis with this clinical picture and this clinical scenario, the diagnosis is sigmoid volvulus. Question number 2, what are the risk factors for the patient to develop this pathology? The correct answer is the risk factors are long sigmoid mesocolon. See, this sigmoid mesocolon is very long. Narrow base of the sigmoid mesocolon. See, the base of the mesocolon is very narrow here. Loaded sigmoid colon because of high fiber diet intake. The whole sigmoid colon is loaded with fecal matter. That is also one of the risk factors. Adhesion at the summit of the sigmoid bowel loop. This is the sigmoid bowel loop. You are seeing an adhesion at the apex of this bowel loop. That is what you are seeing here. Patient is those patients who are taking neuropsychiatric drugs. That is also one of the risk factors to develop sigmoid volvulus. So question number 3, what are the symptoms and signs in this pathology? So the symptoms are majority of these patients will have abdominal pain. Initially, it is left-sided. After some time, it becomes diffuse abdominal pain. Usually, there is enormous abdominal distension. Left iliac fossa initially, and then it spread to the whole abdomen. Patient also will have obstipation, hiccough, retching, vomiting, usually a lead feature, and that too because it's a large bowel obstruction, the vomiting is feculent vomiting. So coming to the signs, if you percuss the abdomen, it is tympanic because this enlargement has contained lot of gas inside, and it is tire-like consistency of the abdomen is very classical, and it is diagnostic. If you do PR, that is parectal or digirectal exam, there is empty rectal vault. Just distension of abdomen without tenderness means still the underlying bowel is viable. If it is apart from distension, if patient is also having generalized tenderness with rebound tenderness, the underlying bowel is already gangrenous. So apart from generalized tenderness, distension and rebound tenderness, if the abdomen is also having rigidity, that is board-like rigidity, that means the bowel is already perforated. So these signs are very important. If it is just distension, no tenderness, then it is viable bowel. It is generalized tenderness with rebound tenderness, then the bowel is already gangrenous. If the abdomen is rigid, that is board-like rigidity, then the bowel is already perforated. So these signs are very important. Clinical signs denote the underlying bowel is just gangrenous or perforated also. The correct answer is, if the underlying bowel is just gangrenous, patient usually they have generalized tenderness all over the abdomen with rebound tenderness also. If the gangrenous bowel is already perforated, patient also they have rigidity, board-like rigidity all over the abdomen. So by making the rigidity if rigidity is positive, that means bowel is already perforated. So question number 5, what is the management in this pathology? So the treatment, you have to first, because majority of these patients may be in shock also, if especially if the underlying bowel is already gangrenous. So you have to keep the patient NPO, start IV fluids, start broad spectrum antibiotics. You have to catheterize the bladder and measure the urine output. So you can do conservative management. The indication is young patient without signs of ischemia. So what you can do, we can do rigid or flexible sigmoidoscopy, negotiate the obstruction and decompress the proximal bowel. Okay, the risk of recurrence in this type of management is more than 50%. So to prevent this recurrence, you can do percutaneous endoscopic sigmoidopexy. This is non-resectional, or you can do mesosigmoidoplasty or sigmoid colectomy. Both are resectional procedures. So this you can do. Or you can do operative procedure if your patient is a elderly patient with signs of ischemia. You must do exploratory laparotomy. If the bowel is viable, still you can go for sigmoidopexy or you can go for sigmoidectomy. If bowel is non-viable, there is no question of sigmoidopexy, you must do only sigmoidectomy. And if it is an emergency procedure, you should not do primary anastomosis. You can do either Paul Mikulis double barrel colostomy or Hartmann's procedure. This you can do. But never do primary anastomosis in an emergency scenario for fear of anastomotic leakage. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you think that these videos are very useful, kindly subscribe to this channel and share these videos in your social media. Kindly click the bell button to get notified regarding my latest uploads. Thank you once again for watching this video. Let us meet in yet another video. Until then, bye bye.